can see. For our children's future, there's no greater cause. This is why I'm a soldier for one nation under God, for America.
That's right. You know what that theme song means, and thank you, Nathan Osmond, for creating that theme song for America Matters with Eddie Floyd. And today, Kelly Rush, as we get to interview one of my all-time favorites that has started with me back in the Park Lane Mall. And speaking of Nathan Osmond, Sharron, he's going to be my guest and Kelly's guest next Monday right here in the studio. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to Sharron Angle, none other than Sharron Angle. Years ago, we did a show together. It was called Sharron's Angle on the legislature. You were an assemblywoman then, lady. I'd like you to tell our audience, with your permission, who is Sharron Angle? Where were you born, educated? What led you to this career of politics?
Okay, well, I'm going to start out that I wasn't born here. We came here I was born in Klamath Falls, Oregon. We came here via Hawaii. My dad was in the Korean conflict, and when he got out, we came here when I was 3. Mm-hmm. We had a motel that I grew up in, and it was right over here at the convention center. So this was where I played, in Old Town Mall. This is my little playground.
Oh, how wonderful. And by the way, I remember when that motel was still in existence, okay?
Yeah, right next door to the Liberty Bell Saloon.
You better believe it. What a wonderful way to grow up right now. But I'll tell you what, I'm really excited because this whole show, before Kelly gets right to the meat and potatoes, this whole show is Trump really justified suing Nevada over mail-in ballots. Kelly?
You know, that's I think such a great question. It's a really, really good topic. And, you know, Trump is suing the state of Nevada over authorizing mail-in ballots. Do you think he's justified in doing so, Sharron? You have the Election Integrity Project of Nevada, and you know all about kind of being messed around with elections. Tell us all about this.
Well, that's why I got involved with Election Integrity Project of Nevada, and we actually have our own lawsuit going. Mm-hmm. Not only do we think that this bill is unconstitutional according to the Nevada Constitution. Now, I believe Trump's lawsuit is a federal one. He says it violates the 14th Amendment. We also have the 14th Amendment in our Nevada Constitution, and we have a voter's Bill of Rights there as well that we think it violates. So we think it violates that Constitution. We also think it's an illegal bill, that it breaks our law, because the law in Nevada is that the state cannot pass down unfunded mandates. They can't say to the counties and local governments, you have to pay for this, and that's exactly what they're doing with AB4. In fact, they put some money in the bill, $2 million, but the Secretary of State says, no, it's going to cost more like $5 million, and Washoe County, right here where we live, says $1.9 million.
Wow.
So
wow,
it's a huge deal. And that violates you and me, because that's our taxpayer dollar, that either they will have to raise taxes to cover this shortfall that's caused by the state, or they will take away some of our services that our taxpayer dollars were paying for to pay for this.
Right.
And so that injures us. We now have a lawsuit against the state for passing something that injures us monetarily, and that's why we're suing. There's also other things within that law that just make your head spin. They have I think the one that probably will be most offensive is that if you're 65 or over, somebody else can sign your ballot.
Whoa.
Isn't that
amazing?
So that now makes anybody 65 or over, and of course that's common knowledge. That's public knowledge. If you register to vote, you put your birthday down. Everybody knows how old you are. So now the ballot harvesters are going to be coming to your house and saying, "Wouldn't you like to vote?" And I can sign that for you.
Yeah.
So they've really set us up, if we're 65 or over, for just a huge deluge of folks that we don't really want coming to our door and electioneering, because it doesn't. A ballot harvester, and that's made legal in this bill, a ballot harvester can work for any campaign. And so they may come in with their campaign T-shirt and their hat and their button and their pamphlets and saying, this is why you should vote for my candidate. Well, that's not allowed at a polling place, and yet your home now, because of mail-in ballots, has become that polling place, and they're electioneering there. So lots of pressure. There's not an election board to say you can't pressure that person into voting for your candidate. You have to wait outside and do your elections nearing 100 yards from the polling place, but not so in your own home. So that's a setup in itself. And speaking of signatures within this bill, you don't have to use your official signature. You can use your initials, you can use your nickname. Now let's talk about how many times can you register to vote. If you really wanted to do something nefarious, you could register under Eddie or Edward, or you can see how that would make you a different voter. But they have really, what we feel, undermined the ballot here in Nevada with this new law, and that's why, for all of those reasons, we're suing. And I want to put in a commercial here.
Please.
If you care about Nevada's elections and think they should be fair and honest and secure, then you need to help us with this lawsuit. It's going to cost us at least $25,000 to take this to court. We need to go this week. We need to file, and you can donate by going to Election Integrity Project Nevada or EIPNV.com, EIPNV.com. Just select the donation button and donate there. And I'll tell you this, that if you donate more than $25, we'll send you a copy of Stolen Choices, which is a documentary that we made. It tells how long it's been going on, this corruption in of our elections in Nevada, in America, who's doing it, how they're doing it, and how we can stop it.
Boy, I tell you, I'll get my copy right away.
EIPNV.com.
Yes.
Perfect. EIPNV.com. This is America Matters with Eddie Floyd and Kelly Rush as we interview Sharron Angle. We'll be right back.
Although not specifically named as a right in the Constitution assumes Americans' fundamental right to vote. When someone else votes in our place, they have stolen our choices.
You can't really have a democratic system, particularly one the public has confidence in, if elections are being stolen.
All of us have the right not to be intimidated from voting, blocked from voting, artificially prevented from voting. We fought a great civil rights struggle over that. We have to preserve and maintain those gains. We have to. But there's a second civil right we all have, which is we have a right not to have our vote canceled out by someone who shouldn't be voting, someone who's an illegal alien, someone who's a felon not eligible to vote, someone who doesn't exist. If they vote, they cancel your vote out.
Which is, you need to get it on video. You need to actually take a recording of it. Otherwise, it's just you telling somebody what you think.
Same woman, Carmela Bellizer, appears to be the same woman, same date of birth, 6 different times, same day.
Would probably be a clear case of fraud.
Carrillo followed Daisy Cabrera to campaign offices, the Miami-Dade Elections Department, and the post office, where she allegedly mailed 19 absentee ballots. Cabrera is accused of being a bolletera, a person who makes a living in the absentee ballot business.
And it's not even just a single model of machine that's the only problem. Across the country, there are about 52 different models of machines, and many of them have been analyzed now by researchers looking for security vulnerabilities. In every single case where a U.S. voting machine has been analyzed by competent security researchers, they have found vulnerabilities that would let someone inject malicious software and change election data. Every single case.
Somebody died for your right to vote, not for somebody else's right to vote in your stead.
Well, we're eip-ca.com. You can go there, download the petition, send it off to the president. You can watch our telethon on September 7th, and you can donate to help us.
Back to the show.
Thank you for that, Abigail. We are back now with America Matters with Eddie Floyd and Kelly Rush as we interview the one and only, my friend from yesteryear, Sharron Angle. You may remember her because, in my opinion, I think
she's not that old.
Well, no,
look at how beautiful and young
she was. A baby.
Is.
She was a baby at the time, you know.
Was she in high school?
Yeah, well, sort of. I think everybody in the legislature was at that time. But here's what I wanted to share with you. Have firsthand knowledge, is my opinion. Tell us about any firsthand evidence that you have of election corruption here in Nevada or anywhere.
Or anywhere. Well, you know, one of the best sources of finding out who's been prosecuted for this, because they say, oh, well, there's no prosecutions. Nobody's ever gone to jail with this from this. Well, in our documentary Stolen Choices, we actually document those kinds of cases. So yes, there are people who have gone to prison for this. There is one lady that actually died in prison because she was convicted of election corruption or voter fraud. So it happens. Heritage Foundation has a running tally of those kinds of cases. In Nevada, I got alerted. My first time in court was over an election corruption deal in 2006. And at that time, the Secretary of State and I were running off against each other for Congress, and he was electioneering from his office, calling absentee ballot holders and telling them, if you've got your absentee ballot, why don't you mark that for me? And he was calling from his office to do that. So we sued. And we said, that's not right. Also not right, with the polls didn't open until after 7 o'clock. Many of them at 10 o'clock. There was a polling place that was moved. Many of the election machines were not allowing you to vote for the candidate. They would vote for your opponent. And we've watched that happen now over the years. It happens quite regularly with election machines. They're just computers. And they are notably easily hacked. Princeton has done studies on that. So, we saw that in Nevada in 2006. In 2010, we weren't sure, but I'll tell you that I ran against Harry Reid in 2010, and at 7 o'clock, I flew to Las Vegas after having my victory party here in Reno, flew down to Las Vegas to have another one. And when I landed, I was actually ahead by 4 to 15 points, depending on the exit poller. But by 10 after 7, I'd lost that election. So I called an exit poller. I said, what happened? And he said, Sharron, I can count everything but cheating. So when I joined Election Integrity Project Nevada, EIPNV.com, I asked them to look at our voter rolls. And they said, well, we're going to start way back. We're going to start in 2010 and before, and then that will be our preliminary. We'll see who's still registered to vote. They shouldn't be registered to vote. And lo and behold, here's what we found. I lost to Harry Reid by 41,424 votes, and we found a little over 42,000 illegitimate votes still active in Nevada. In fact, here's something for you. We found 5 people that were double voting, were registered twice,
Wow.
mailed 2 ballots, had been double voting in 2010, and guess what? They voted in the primary in 2020.
Wow.
So it's still going on, and it's embedded in our system. And we sent these findings to the Secretary of State on July the 24th and asked her to review those and give an accounting for that, what's going on here. And we still haven't heard. They said, well, we'll need until the 31st of August to really answer your letter of the 24th of July. So we're still waiting on the answer to that, but we're also putting those findings within our lawsuit, and that's where we want you to, of course, help us with this to raise that $25,000 so that we can pay our attorneys for that lawsuit. And you can go to EIPNV.com and make a donation there.
Yeah, Sharron, let's make sure that the people really truly understand that. How many of you out there viewing us on television or listening to us right now on the radio stations remotely think there might be election fraud taking place in this nation of ours? That's why you need to go to that website, right? Kelly, thanks. That was 2 arms up for Kelly. I'll put 2 up too. But the bottom line is they need to go to her website and donate today. I don't care what it is. Donate today, because this is the first of what I feel will be many lawsuits.
EIPNV.com. EIPNV.com.
Wow, perfect. Now, let me do this. I know Kelly's going to be asking you the next question.
This is a huge, this is such a biggie for me. I delved into this hard when I ran 20 years ago because I found out this is what the deal was.
Yeah. It's you're predestined to either win or lose, no matter who's counting the votes.
That's why many people don't even register to vote.
Right.
They don't think their vote counts.
Right.
And so when you ask how many people truly believe that there is something going on, corruption within our elections, you look at the numbers that are actually voting, the numbers that it's 25%, right, that are actually registered to vote of those that are eligible to vote. They actually vote. So what about the other 75%? Well, they're the ones that say my vote doesn't count anyway, so why should I bother? You know, we saw this happening in Las Vegas during the primary. 1.5, almost 1.5 million ballots were sent out. 300,000 were voted. 233,000 came back undeliverable. What happened to the other over 500,000?
Wow.
They were in the streets. They were in mailboxes. Who could have picked them up? Well, maybe some of those double voters did. You know, I mean,
Mailman's basement.
That's what I'm saying. How they verified those 305,000. Of those 305,000, 5 of those votes that were verified and counted were voted twice, to people that voted twice. So how many more were there that we didn't catch because we just did 2010 registrations, and before we didn't do 2020 or 2010 to 2020, and that's still to be done. So you know, we know that there's problems here.
You know, Sharron, I'm with your permission, Kelly, I have a real quick question on that right now. You mentioned something to me, Sharron, that they double voted, 5 of them double voted in 2010, and then they voted in the primary 10 years later in 2020 primaries. Am I right? Okay.
That's right. We don't know how many times they double voted between 2010 and 2020. We haven't done that.
And these are just, we're just talking federal elections, right? I mean,
no. No, we're talking state elections. You know,
these
state primary. The state primary.
Oh, this was a state. Okay.
They voted. We don't know.
But I'm talking. We don't know what they did in their little local elections in the meantime.
Well, we don't know who they voted for. This is the problem with mail-in ballots, because once you separate the envelope from the ballot becomes anonymous, and they vote that ballot, and we can challenge the person that voted, but we don't know how he voted, so we can't take the ballot back.
That's what I was getting at.
Wow.
So what we need to do is make sure that we challenge it when the ballot is still together with its envelope, and say we don't even care who they voted for. We're just challenging that. We don't think they should be voting in this election. Throw it in that bin over there.
You know what? Call me ignorant, okay? But wouldn't the real solution be to this, problem, to vote in person with a voter ID? Am I wrong? You know?
Well,
Ding, ding, ding.
Am I wrong? I mean, wouldn't that be the real solution to a problem with
With
criminals?
paper
Yeah.
that you mark that gets hand
you guys-
counted, kind of like
Amen.
they do. Gee, in Europe, maybe.
how about a purple thumb even? You know,
Yeah.
Whatever.
we know how to make our elections secure. We know the most secure is, as you said, in person on election day. On election day,
Yeah.
in your precinct where you are known, with a paper ballot that can be recounted.
Amen.
And as you said, you have to be known. If it's a purple thumb, that person can't go down the street and vote at the next early voting place. They already know he's marked. He's done his balloting. So those 5 people that we talked about couldn't have done that twice.
Right.
Except when you mail in a ballot, how many can you mail in?
Yeah, exactly.
How many?
You know, how
you
many
know?
stamps do you have? Okay.
Right,
You know.
and
And by
if
the
you
way-
picked one up in the trash and it said this guy and they're not really verifying signatures that much, you just sign for him, send his in, go down, pick up another one, send his in. These loose ballots out there are a real problem.
Wow. You know what I'm going to do right now? As we go to this break, I'm going to ask Christian. Christian, if you'd be kind enough, we are not only heard on many radio stations here in the great state of Nevada and California, but surrounding areas as well, and on television at the following.
Yeah, this show is available at the AUN-TV network. That's channel 17.1 in San Francisco, channel 12.1 in San Rafael, channel 45.1 in San Jose, channel 27.1 in Santa Rosa, channel 23.1 in Redding, channel 11.1 in Chico, channel 28.1 in Sacramento, channel 8.1 in Fort Bragg, channel 45.1 in Napa Valley, and soon here in Reno and Carson City on channels 13 and channel 19.
And that's all thanks to the wonderful Rick Trader,
You better believe it.
conservative commando.
By the way, he's got a birthday coming up. I believe it's this Friday.
You're kidding.
No,
Happy birthday,
yeah.
Rick.
I'm pretty sure it is.
We
Okay.
appreciate you so much. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, you better believe it. You were listening to him when you were a little girl, right?
Not quite a little girl, but I had been listening to Rick for a very long time.
All right, ready? America Matters. Eddie Floyd, Kelly Rush, as we interview Sharron Angle. We'll be right back.
Although not specifically named as a right in the Constitution assumes Americans' fundamental right to vote. When someone else votes in our place, they have stolen our choices.
You can't really have a democratic system, particularly one the public has confidence in, if elections are being stolen.
All of us have the right not to be intimidated from voting, blocked from voting, artificially prevented from voting. We fought a great civil rights struggle over that. We have to preserve and maintain those gains. We have to. But there's a second civil right we all have, which is we have a right not to have our vote canceled out by someone who shouldn't be voting, someone who's an illegal alien, someone who's a felon not eligible to vote, someone who doesn't exist. If they vote, they cancel your vote out.
Which is, you need to get it on video. You need to actually take a recording of it. Otherwise, it's just you telling somebody what you think.
Same woman, Carmela Bellizer, appears to be the same woman, same date of birth, 6 different times, same day.
Would probably be a clear case of fraud.
Carrillo followed Daisy Cabrera to campaign offices, the Miami-Dade Elections Department, and the post office where she allegedly mailed 19 absentee ballots. Cabrera is accused of being a bolletera, a person who makes a living in the absentee ballot business.
And it's not even just a single model of machine that's the only problem. Across the country, there are about 52 different models of machines, and many of them have been analyzed now by researchers looking for security vulnerabilities. In every single case where a U.S. voting machine has been analyzed by competent security researchers, they have found vulnerabilities that would let someone inject malicious software and change election data. Every single case.
Somebody died for your right to vote, not for somebody else's right to vote in your stead.
Well, we're eip-ca.com. You can go there, download the petition, send it off to the president. You can watch our telethon on September 7th, and you can donate to help us.
Now back to the show.
Thank you for that, Brenda. And we're back now with America Matters with Eddie Floyd and Kelly Rush. As we talk about, is Donald Trump justified suing Nevada over mail-in ballots?
Yep.
We're talking to Sharron Angle right now, who I've known for quite a while, and I was so excited when she ran against Harry Reid here in the great state of Nevada, and it was very unique that you found 42,000 votes that were not counted, when in fact, you lost only by 41,000 and some votes. So, Kelly,
imagine that.
Yeah, imagine, if you will.
And Sharron, on your website, we saw a letter for citizens to write to President Trump that asks for emergency action. What is that action? Can you tell us about that?
Certainly. Well, the main action that we want is for him to delay the deadlines in the National Voter Registration Act, National Voter Rights Act, NVRA. What it has is a deadline of August the 3rd, 90 days out from the general election. You have to have cleansed your rolls or you can't clean them anymore because of this deadline. And we're saying, wait a second, you give us a chance, because we're finding these things and we have to give them time to answer us. And because of deadlines, what is happening is they're delaying, and then justice delayed is justice denied. Really.
Of course, and with everything that's been going on with this COVID, and then trying to change the entire way the election is being held at the last minute like this, you can't impose, deadlines like this as well.
Well,
that's BS.
You would think, but of course, the law matters, depending on who's enforcing it.
Well, of course, and of course, this is part of their plan. This is part of what the Democrats are trying to do.
Yeah, we're also asking the president to declare a summit. We'd like to have a summit on election integrity before the election, so that he knows what we know. In the states, we have been able to get documentation, and I've kind of shared some of the documentation that we have in Nevada. California's been doing this for over 10 years now, and they have lots of documentation. In fact, it was their documentation that they took to, oh my goodness, the guys that fought for them, I can't even remember their name, Tom Fenton, is in charge of that group. But anyway, they were the lawyers. And LA County, when they saw the documentation of 1.5 million illegitimate votes just in LA County, they said, we're not going to contest this. We'll just clean it up. Well, they started their cleanup project, and they found that it was actually 1.6 million and counting. Now, the problem is, even though we know that's happened there, it's still not clean, and that was 2 years ago.
And that was just LA County?
Yes, just LA County. And we now have cases going forward in other counties in California, so it makes you wonder, doesn't it? We always have said, oh, well, that's the left coast there. But come on, maybe there was nefarious stuff going on. If we can get if we can get the rolls cleaned up, maybe it has a whole different complexion. And that kind of law that has been going on in California is now coming east. They were the first ones to legalize ballot harvesting. We already talked about the problems with ballot harvesting.
Joke.
They were the ones that said same-day registration was a good idea. They are the ones that have really said we don't need to have signatures, we don't need to have photo IDs. So they have actually loosened up elections, and now it's coming east. So even our state is feeling the pinch with this new law. All of this is stuff that Californians have been living with for years.
You know, Sharon, are there other states besides California? Excuse me.
I just want to say, I see that we have a caller. The phone is ringing.
Yeah.
Christian is indisposed at the moment, so whoever you are, hang in there with us.
That's right. We'll get back to you.
And as soon as he steps back into the booth, he will pick up the phone and put you in with us. So
Amen.
hang in there.
Amen. Thanks, Kelly. I didn't even notice right in front of me.
Yeah, we can't pick it up, and we could pick it up, but I can't. From where I am, I can't
answer the phone.
I can't put the pod up.
That's right. Okay, let me ask you this. You mentioned California. Are there other states right now that are working with your election integrity project?
Yeah, Arizona, Nevada, Arkansas have all combined. We're all LLCs under the 501c3 Election Integrity Project California. And the reason we did that was we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. They've been collecting evidence. We want to collect evidence. We said, okay, show us how to do this, and we're ready to go. Also, we wanted that 501c3 because anything that you donate to EIP-NV is tax deductible. So make that charitable gift to election integrity.
Yeah, this stuff is expensive.
If you need a place to hide $25,000 from the government, please think of EIPNV.com as a good place for an angel. We need some angels in this group.
Angel investors.
And then we have the Election Integrity Project Alliance, and we have more states, North Carolina, Texas, Illinois, and those are the ones that I can think of right off the top of my head. But we have about 10 other states that have been doing this kind of research themselves, and they're joining with us in this fight.
Didn't I hear you say for donations of $25 or better, you get a free copy of the
documentary?
The documentary, Stolen Choices.
Actually,
that's exciting.
Is it a
DVD?
No, it'll be a link.
Download.
Yeah,
awesome.
It'll be a download link.
That's even better.
And so have a party at your house and share it with your friends. We are asking for volunteers. There is a way to stop this. And in fact, that's what Stolen Choices tells about, is how we can stop this. We are going to be training people to look for the signs of corruption in elections for the 2020 November election. So just get on our website, contact us there, and we'll be starting the training.
You know, Sharon, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take the opportunity to go to a caller, Steve Furman. Okay? Steve, welcome to America Matters with Eddie Floyd and Kelly Rush. And I think you know the young lady we're interviewing, right?
I sure do. Republican Women's Club many moons ago.
That's right. That's right. I think we did a dinner theater together, you and me.
We did two, and one was a great success, and the second one not so much.
Okay, that's why I only remember one. Okay, but that's the truth. What's your comments to Sharon or question?
Well, it's this whole COVID thing. You saw my big post under the announcement of the show. This is not about public safety. It has nothing to do with public safety. This is about keeping enough people scared to mail in votes and steal an election. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree with you more, Steve. You know, and I want to thank you for calling, and I want you to also know how much we appreciate you listening. Where are you calling us from, my friend?
I am in Corpus Christi, Texas these days.
Right.
Good for you, buddy.
And I'm working at one of the refineries down here. So,
nice.
Well, bless your heart.
How's the hurricane? How's the hurricane situation looking? Are you doing all right?
And the one that's coming toward us, we had one like 2 weeks ago, and it ended up being a Cat 1 and blew a tree over. So, you know.
You will rebuild, huh?
You will rebuild. Hey, Steve, I want to thank you for calling. I'm going to get back to Sharon. You'll go ahead.
No, they've got one headed for him right now.
Yeah, I know. There's another one. So be safe, my friend.
There's two, and we'll be fine. They're supposed to peter out before they really.
Okay, good.
So knock on wood.
Very good. You
Thanks
hang
a lot,
in.
guys.
Thanks so much
Hey,
for calling.
Thank you so much, Steve. Steve Furman, boy, we did a lot together in the Republican Men's Club parties that we would have. Now, Sharron, I'm going to ask you a question because one of the things that I'm excited about is you're having a telethon, if I'm not mistaken, and isn't that going to take place real soon right now?
It is Labor Day weekend. We decided to do the Jerry Lewis telethon date, right?
Wow.
September the 7th, which is Monday of Labor Day. It is Labor Day. 2 weeks from now, from 9 in the morning to 9 evening, and we're going to be doing it on the internet, but more importantly, we're going to be doing it on AUN-TV.
Beautiful.
And we'll be showing the Stolen Choices, but in between, Joe Messina from Southern California and I are going to be interviewing different folks that have a clarity about this issue. I want to do a little disclaimer as well. I know this is going to be hard for your audience to believe, but I'm nonpartisan this year, and the reason is because of our 501c3. I can't take a partisan stand on anything this year. We just want fair and honest and secure elections for both sides.
Right.
And we know that in our documentary, we actually document that both sides have been guilty. You know, if there's an advantage to rigging an election, we've seen it happen on both sides. We've seen it historically from both sides. So nobody is innocent in all of this, but the point is that we want fair, honest, and secure elections, and you can help. And the website again is eipnv.com. You can donate there. You can also click on Stolen Choices. That'll take you right to a place where you can donate and get a copy of Stolen Choices for yourself. And then, of course, we want you to tune in on the 7th and watch us do this telethon. Well, I don't know if we'll be as good as Jerry Lewis, but we're going to try.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to promote the heck out of your telethon, and we're looking forward to that as well. This is America Matters with Eddie Floyd, Kelly Rush, as we interview Sharron Angle, and we'll be right back.
Although not specifically named as a right in the Constitution assumes Americans' fundamental right to vote. When someone else votes in our place, they have stolen our choices.
You can't really have a democratic system, particularly one the public has confidence in, if elections are being stolen.
All of us have the right not to be intimidated from voting, blocked from voting, artificially prevented from voting. We fought a great civil rights struggle over that. We have to preserve and maintain those gains. We have to. But there's a second civil right we all have, which is we have a right not to have our vote canceled out by someone who shouldn't be voting, someone who's an illegal alien, someone who's a felon not eligible to vote, someone who doesn't exist. If they vote, they cancel your vote out.
Which is you need to get it on video. You need to actually take a recording of it. Otherwise, it's just you telling somebody what you think.
Same woman, Carmela Belazar, appears to be the same woman, same date of birth, 6 different times, same day.
Would probably be a clear case of fraud.
Carrillo followed Daisy Cabrera to campaign offices, the Miami-Dade Elections Department, and the post office where she allegedly mailed 19 absentee ballots. Cabrera is accused of being a bolletera, a person who makes a living in the absentee ballot business.
And it's not even just a single model of machine that's the only problem. Across the country, there are about 52 different models of machines, and many of them have been analyzed now by researchers looking for security vulnerabilities. In every single case where a U.S. voting machine has been analyzed by competent security researchers, they have found vulnerabilities that would let someone inject malicious software and change election data. Every single case.
Somebody died for your right to vote, not for somebody else's right to vote in your stead.
Well, we're eip-ca.com. You can go there, download the petition, send it off to the president. You can watch our telethon on September 7th, and you can donate to help us.
Now back to the show.
Thank you for that, Carmen. And we are back right now with America Matters with Eddie Floyd, Kelly Rush, as we interview none other than Sharron Angle, all about election integrity and the project she's working on. Kelly?
Before we get started, I do want to make mention, our good friend Dr. Bruce Fong is putting on a wonderful lunch presentation this Friday at noon about hydroxychloroquine at the Del Real. Our good friend Abel Del Real at the Del Real Pub and Grill, 6148 Mayan Avenue in Northwest, at the Stone Valley Drive at North Quail Shopping Center. The presentation is free, and lunch specials are starting at $10, including soft drink. Please RSVP to Bev, because space is limited. It's 408-705-6537 is her phone number. And again, that's a presentation with our good friend Dr. Bruce Fong this Friday at noon. This Friday, August 28th at noon at Del Real Pub and Grill on Mayan Avenue in the Northwest. Call Bev at 408-705-6537, and I'm going to put a post on both our website and yours. So thank you.
You know what, Sharron? Thank you for allowing us to do that. You know, we care about everybody in the community that thinks the way that Bruce Fong, Dr. Fong, does think, just the way we care about Sharron Angle and the way you think. I'd do anything right now and give you as much support as I possibly can to see that we get finally a fair election. Not just here in Nevada, but across this nation. Look what we're facing right now. Are we going to have mail-in voting across the nation, or are we not? Okay? What's going to really take place? Or is somebody going to cry foul and there is no election? You know, don't tell me that I'm a conspiracy theorist. There's all kinds of things out there, right?
There are all kinds of things, and I guess that's why we decided we needed to join up with Election Integrity Project California and make Nevada a part of the 4 states right now and many others that are looking into this problem and saying it stops here with me. And of course you can do something, Eddie. We're looking for angels. You know, it's going to cost quite a bit to take this to court. It also costs for analysts to analyze the voter registration rules and come up with the documentation so we can fight these things in court. So, you know, $25,000 is just a bare minimum of what we really need to do. But that's the first step here in Nevada, is to get rid of this law, to say we're enjoining you, state of Nevada, and prohibiting you from enforcing this law. And, you know, in the first part, we talked about the problems with the law and why that's so important. But we're also going to be putting observers and hotline in. And this is a little different. You know, I've participated in party hotlines and party observation, but we're really looking for criminal activity. And we're looking for those prosecutions, those things that we talked about at the first. Does it really happen? Do people really go to jail? Well, yes, and they should. So that's what we're training our volunteers to look for, is those kinds of things that we know are happening. We know how they do it. We're looking for it. We want to train people to look for it and to be within the law as they're looking. We also need people to go down to the election registrar of voters in every county and volunteer to be on that board, on that election board, because inside folks can see stuff that that all day long, even our observers don't pick up on, but we try. Just for instance, we had a precinct person at Horseman Park who saw a lady come in. The lady said, "I live in Truckee. Can I still vote here in Nevada?" Well, the answer should have been no. You live in Truckee, you're a California resident, you can't vote in Nevada.
Right.
The supervisor there looked at the rolls and said, "Well, you're still registered to vote here in Nevada, so yes."
Oh,
what? Now, see, that person should have been disallowed, but we know that that's going back and forth across that state line. We haven't analyzed that part yet, so your donations will help our analysts to get those records, because we can see who's voting in California and then coming across the state line and voting in Nevada, or Arizona and into Nevada, or Utah and into Nevada. So we want to stop that kind of activity, because some people think just because I own property in both states
that they can do that. I was just going to say that's a huge issue.
But that's not right. You have to make a choice. You have to decide where your residency is, and it's what state you are a resident in. That's where you vote, not where you own property.
Right.
So, I know that in a lot of situations people are breaking the law, and it is a felony by the way.
Yes.
You go to federal prison for election fraud.
Yeah.
If the judge doesn't let you off, and I have to say that some of these guys get off. They commit these crimes, and the judge will say, "Oh, well, little community service, right?"
Yeah. You didn't,
And so that just encourages it.
In a lot of cases, these are, little old, rich retirees with their multiple properties, and they don't realize.
But the lady asked, and
she knew.
If she asked, she knew, or at least had an inkling that
sometimes they. And I can see a judge in a situation, being lenient. These people have
You know what?
But it is fraud. It is a felony. It is,
Well, that's why we named our documentary Stolen Choices, is because anytime someone votes twice, someone votes illegally, is not a citizen, some dead person votes, and we have 75 of those voting in Nevada right now, too.
Wow.
We can't prove it that they're actually dead. We haven't gone to their home, but they're over the age of 105. So we suspect that they're probably deceased.
I wouldn't think so.
But we have 75 of those. 40 of those are still voting. 75 are registered, 40 are still voting. So, anytime one of those people votes, they cancel your vote. They've stolen your choice. And that's why we chose Stolen Choices for the title, but perhaps we should have said cancel culture, because this is truly a cancel culture when they're canceling your vote with stacking the deck, if you will.
Making the decision multiply.
And what's so sad, in my opinion? That lady did nothing wrong. She asked the precinct, "Can I vote?" He's the one who's guilty, or she, whoever said, "Yeah, you can vote. You're still registered here."
The expert, the one, that who lied.
There's a lot going on in that little brief encounter.
So much.
But that's why we need observers, because an observer can see that. And this was an election board worker that just saw that and reported it. But that's another thing. We have to report it to the right people so that we can stop that ballot from being cast, right?
But the thing is, though, the people you report to have to have integrity, and there has to be.
That's why we have our own hotline with our own.
That's the thing. Somebody
procedure for reporting those things, because we don't actually trust that. In 2010, we had a hotline. I found it at my election party. It was one of those throwaway phones, and it was in the couch after the party I found it, and I thought, well, thanks, we had a hotline, but nobody was on the other end, right? It was just going to voicemail. So we have to have integrity within the process of watching, even. And we need to have observers that will follow the law, that know what our procedure and policy is, and will follow that, because that's how we catch these things.
We really need.
And so that's why I'm pushing people to EIPNV.com. Come and help us.
You know what? Let's end out. I'm going to let you kind of finish the show. Mm-hmm. Keep talking until you want to just say, I'm done. But here's what. The telethon, I want to go over that again, and also your website.
All right. Well, the telethon is on September the 7th, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Will be televised on AUN-TV. You can actually, I think we'll have it on that website, AUN-TV.com. Go there. We will also be putting it out in the internet so that people outside of California can watch it. But I feel like we've gone to the belly of the beast with our programming here. We want to help California get back on their wheels as well. And so that's where the telethon will be on September the 7th. If you would like a copy yourself, you say, I don't want to wait through 12 hours, and I'm going to, a little spoiler alert, we'll be showing that several times during that 12-hour stint. It's a 90-minute, but there will be breaks. We will have commercials, and you'll hear donate to EIPNV, donate to EIPCA. So if you don't want that, if you want commercial-free, just go to our website, click on Stolen Choices, the event or the movie, and you can make a donation there of $25 or more and get that for yourself.
Wow.
EIPNV.com. EIPNV.com is the website you want to go to for Sharron Angle to donate for this wonderful project.
You better believe it. Sharron, I want to personally, on behalf of Kelly and I and America Matters Media and Christian Meyer, we want to thank you for being our guest today on America Matters.
Matthew.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
Although not specifically named as a right in the Constitution assumes Americans' fundamental right to vote.
When someone else votes in our place, they have stolen our choices.
You can't really have a democratic system, particularly one the public has confidence in, if elections are being stolen.
All of us have the right not to be intimidated from voting, blocked from voting, artificially prevented from voting. We fought a great civil rights struggle over that. We have to preserve and maintain those gains. We have to. But there's a second civil right we all have, which is we have a right not to have our vote canceled out by someone who shouldn't be voting, someone who's an illegal alien, someone who's a felon not eligible to vote, someone who doesn't exist. If they vote, they cancel your vote out.
Which is, you need to get it on video. You need to actually take a recording of it. Otherwise, it's just you telling somebody what you think.
Same woman, Carmela Belazar, appears to be the same woman, same date of birth, 6 different times, same day.
Would probably be a clear case of fraud.
Carrillo followed Daisy Cabrera to campaign offices, the Miami-Dade Elections Department, and the post office, where she allegedly mailed 19 absentee ballots. Cabrera is accused of being a bolletera, a person who makes a living in the absentee ballot business.
And it's not even just a single model of machine that's the only problem. Across the country, there are about 52 different models of machines, and many of them have been analyzed now by researchers looking for security vulnerabilities. In every single case where a U.S. voting machine has been analyzed by competent security researchers, they have found vulnerabilities that would let someone inject malicious software and change election data. Every single case.
Somebody died for your right to vote, not for somebody else's right to vote in your stead.
Well, we're eip-ca.com. You can go there, download the petition, send it off to the president. You can watch our telethon on September 7th, and you can donate to help us.